Hi Sloths, and welcome to Unpopular Opinions, the show that's just like Marmite. I either love something or I hate it. And in today's video we're going to be talking about something I absolutely despise, and that is arachnids. Arachnids in games, in films, in TV shows, as toys, as decorations, whatever you want to talk about. That's what we're talking about today. And just a word of not warning. Basically, I have really bad arachnophobia myself, so in this entire video I will not be showing any kind of representation of any arachnids or arachnid-like creatures. Basically, I'm excluding all pictures, videos, GIFs, and things like that of any kind of spider enemies or creatures representational of spiders and arachnids and things like that. But I will be talking about these things. I believe that spiders in games, in films, in media in general are used way too much. They're used too much in games for like cheap scares, freaky enemy designs, and they're used a lot in fantasy and horror settings, sometimes just in general. But in horror games, they are mainly used to freak people out because developers know that arachnophobia is like a really common fear and people don't like it, or people find it creepy and spooky, and they just stick them in there anyway because we think, oh, we'll get a good cheap scare out of this. And there's loads of spiders in horror games like ticks, trites, and the vagary from Doom 3. The reason why I have never completed Doom 3 is literally because of those. Because of those enemies, I got too freaked out and I could not play the rest of the game. But there's also the giant silhouette spiders in Limbo, and I obviously avoid games with lots of spiders in and things like that. And when I first heard about Limbo, I had no idea they were going to have spiders. First time these giant spidery legs came up, I was like, please tell me that those are not actually spider legs, because they look awfully a lot like spider legs. And then it started twitching and moving, and then it actually turned into a giant moving spider, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, why? And then you've got other things like the spiders in Dark Souls and just fantasy and horror games in general. You see a lot of spiders and it's not fun. And there's so many non-horror games. So I was playing Bayonetta 2. All of a sudden, this giant tarantula came up as a boss. I stopped playing the game. I hated it. Immediately I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, no, I'm not doing this. And the entire reason why I'm making this video is because I've been seeing a lot of spiders in games, Nintendo Directs and things like that. And the biggest one, the one that actually made me make this video, that same giant spider creature from Bayonetta 2 is now back in Bayonetta 3, and I hate it so much. I'm not going to buy the game just because of that, literally. I hate spiders that much that I'm going to be missing out on a great experience. Another one, which is a very sort of quirky one, people don't seem to understand when I talk about this, especially one of my friends who loves this franchise, and that is Spider-Man. Spider-Man creeps me out. I know it's a stupid thing to even think about or say, but Spider-Man creeps me out because technically he is part spider because of the venom and the genetic DNA. He's basically a mutated human with some spidery goings on. And just the fact that in most Spider-Man films they show visual representations of spiders, like Spider-Man's icon on his chest, and in the first films they have they sort of show spiders biting Peter Parker and things like that, and even in the cartoons and stuff it's very spidery heavy, and it's just like, no, I don't like it, please stop. The old Sony films, the first 3 Sony films that they did with Spider-Man, he could actually produce webs from his own body, and I thought that was really, really creepy and gross. So yeah, I don't like Spider-Man just because of that. I know. As well, in non-horror games, there's like Okami's Spider Queen, which I love Okami, but I will never play it because of that, which again is a massive shame. I'm missing out on a great game because of the giant spiders. And I think it's in Okamiden as well, I'm not entirely sure of that. There's also the Black Tiger tarantula from Resident Evil HD, or just Resident Evil in general. Never played a Resident Evil game because I don't like shooters, to be honest. So yeah, I don't really know much about it, but I know that it exists and I hate it There's the Omagoma from Twilight Princess. That thing freaked me out when I played Twilight Princess. Again, that's why I never finished that game. I really struggled to get past games like Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and what's it called now? Skyward Sword. Because of the Skulltulas and the Golden Skulltulas, hated those things. That really freaked me out. And there's been a couple of times where I've sworn I've seen spiders with the same skull-shaped abdomen, and I have no idea why. It's probably some sort of strange hallucination and fear of the Skulltulas, I don't know. But that was when I was like super young, so. There's also, in Animal Crossing New Horizons, tarantulas and spiders, and the spiders don't really freak me out as much in that game. I don't know why. The tarantulas definitely do, and they're really fast, and what I hate the most is the scorpions. A lot of people don't seem to realise this, but scorpions are also arachnids. Yeah, that's a thing, that's a real thing. Scorpions usually don't freak me out nearly as much as spiders and tarantulas, and I have no idea why. But the scorpions in Animal Crossing New Horizons, they are horrible. They are so fast, and every time I see one I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, no. I've never actually managed to capture one because I just can't. Not only are they too fast, but I'm also too scared, which is really silly. But again, arachnophobia, it really does hurt. There's also like the frostbite spiders from Skyrim. They're horrible. In Minecraft there's the large spiders, the cave spiders, and there's these horrible spider mods that I've seen. In fact, one of my friends right now is sort of developing a horror mod for Minecraft, and he has the spider mod where the spiders have like super long and horrible, ow, I just hit the table. Super long and horrible legs, and it's just, oh, I hate it. It's so gross, it's disgusting. Just no, please no, stop. Stop putting spiders in games. And Pokemon, oh no, Pokemon. I love Pokemon up until Gen 8. And there's so many stories I could tell you about when playing Pixelmon, where I got scared of a Spinarak or an Ariados or something, and I was just like, oh dear no. And I just hate them. I never use any of the spider Pokemon on my teams. They creep me out a lot, especially Galvantula, Spinarak, Spinarak and Araquanid. I don't know what it is, but Ariados doesn't freak me out as much as Spinarak, and I really don't know why. Even though it's literally a giant spider, and Spinarak's just a small spider. I don't know. Johto is horrible for that. Damn you, Johto, giving me Spinaraks. No. Hate him, don't like him. And there's this one story I could tell you where in... what's it called? In Pixelmon, I was basically running around at night, and then all of a sudden a Spinarak sort of just popped out into the open. I was like, oh dear no. And I actually got that scared that I threw my last Pokeball at it and it actually caught it. It's really silly, but I guess that's kind of what happens. Continuing on from that, I'd like to talk about spider-like enemies in games. And what I mean by that is enemies that are reminiscent of spiders or have spider-like features but aren't actually quite spiders or arachnids or whatever. And by that I'm talking about the Spider Mastermind and Arachnotron from Doom, Specimen 3 from Spooky's Jumpscare Mansion, Goma and Tektite from various Zelda games, Mimi's true form from Super Paper Mario, and another one that kind of prompted me to make this video is I saw this trailer for a new horror game. It's called Choo Choo Charles, basically, and in it there's this train and it's got giant fucking spider legs and it's chasing you, and it's horrendous. That thing is terrifying. I could not watch the rest of that video because it just freaked me out too much. But I did a little bit of research, and apparently it is a sort of survival horror game where you are being terrorized, or the town is being terrorized by this train, this very demonic train called Charles, who obviously has spider legs. It's disgusting, it's terrifying, I hate it so much, but it's a brilliant idea and concept for a really terrifying spooky game. It's silly, it's quirky, it's fucking horrendously terrifying. That's just sort of what I picked up from that, and yeah. So if you like things like spiders and stuff, go play that game, because I'm sure it's going to be brilliant, because there's a lot of buzz around it right now on the internet. I personally will not be playing it because I hate spiders, but yeah. Apparently you have to like deck out your own train and do like side quests for villagers and things like that so that you can actually take on this train. It's kind of a really cool concept. Anyway, now I want to talk about another sort of strange little quirk that's going on in gaming right now. It's only happened a few times already, but I think with the right sort of steps and a good push, more game developers might include this. And I'm talking about the arachnophobia mode that's in games like Grounded and Satisfactory. Now, I've never played Satisfactory before at all, and I don't know much about it, but apparently it has an arachnophobia mode, and apparently it's also made by the same people who did Goat Simulator. So yeah, and apparently in Satisfactory, if you turn on the arachnophobia mode, it turns all spiders into 2D cat sprites, and I think that is amazing. I love cats, I hate spiders, please make more of this. And the big one, Grounded. Now, I think this is the one that sparked the most out of people. Grounded is a sort of survival, I want to call it survival horror, but I don't know if it is one, but it's definitely some sort of survival game. And you play as this person who is shrunk down and has to survive in their own garden and things like that, against giant bugs and obviously giant arachnids, spiders and things. And apparently in Grounded, well, not apparently because I know it for a fact, in Grounded there is an option called arachnophobia mode. It's in the accessibility page for the game, and it basically just removes spiders, and I think that is amazing. I never in a million years thought someone other than me would have the idea to actually create an accessibility feature for fears, like big important fears that people have, like arachnophobia. I mean, when I think of games with lots of spiders in it, like Minecraft, I kind of think to myself, I wish there was a way to just get rid of these enemies, because I really don't enjoy playing the game when they're there. It's horrible, it's scary, and it makes me feel very paranoid and scared, terrified and anxious and things like that. It's just like, I want them gone, and there's no way to get rid of them. But thanks to people who actually have a brain, like the people who made Grounded and Satisfactory, they actually decided that they were going to do that, and I think it's brilliant. I think more game developers should add arachnophobia mode, or just some sort of accessibility feature that turns off certain things for people who have like certain fears. I know it's a lot to ask, but it's a really good idea. It gets more people playing. I miss out on so many great experiences like Okami because of this one scene where it's got this giant spider in it. It just, please, someone figure out how to push developers to get these modes implemented and things like that. It would make my life so much easier, and a lot of people's lives so much easier as well who play games. There's also another game called Webbed. I don't know if it's out yet or if it's still in development, but apparently it's been confirmed that Webbed is going to have a arachnophobia mode, even though it's a game where you play as a spider. So I don't know how that's going to work. Maybe they'll turn it into some sort of raccoon or something. I don't know. I'm just pulling animals out the top of my head there. So next, I would like to talk about spiders in films or TV or whatnot. In horror films, you've got like 1990s Arachnophobia, 1955's Tarantula, 2001's Earth vs. Spider, 2001's Arachnid, 1995's The Giant Spider Invasion, 2002's Eight-Legged Freaks, and 1977's Curse of the Black Widow. All these films, one thing in common: giant fucking spiders killing people. That's what the film is. That's what the films are, even. And I hate it. There is an entire category on Wikipedia of just films about horror films about spiders, or just films in general about spiders, and I don't think I just never thought it would actually get this bad, with the whole craze of, oh, spiders are scary, let's make films about them because they're scary. I don't like that. I don't. But then in non-horror films and TV shows, you've got things like Lord of the Rings with the giant spiders, Harry Potter and The Hobbit with giant spiders as well. Just one scene in the entire film, and in one film as well, it's just, why do you need that? I get like it's supposed to be a fantasy setting, but why do you feel the need to include ginormous horrifying spiders? Just, no, you don't need that. And a lot of people who know me, I absolutely adore Doctor Who. Yeah, I just love Doctor Who. Classic Doctor Who, modern Doctor Who, bits of the current series, just bits, not the whole thing. I'm not going to get into that today. That might be for a different unpopular opinion video. But yeah, there's the whole Third Doctor's ending arc, where it's Planet of the Spiders, where he visits a planet full of spiders, and I think he gets killed by the radiation that's there, or something similar to that. But yeah, there's a lot of giant spiders there, and I think they sort of attach to people's backs, and it's horrible. I can't believe I managed to sit through that episode. I'm not really much a fan of Christmas specials in anything at all. Just don't really care for them. Actually kind of find them pretty annoying, pretty bland. But I basically always watch the Doctor Who Christmas specials, and there's one, the one with Catherine Tate in it, the Rachnos, not Rachnos, that's the name of the giant spider woman, but the Christmas Invasion, I think it's called, I can't remember. But basically there's this, the main enemy is the last of Arachnos, which is the Emperor Arachnos, and basically she is half woman, half spider, and it's disgusting. I absolutely hate watching that. In fact, I think I've only seen it like twice because I just hate that so much. And then they decided to bring back for, I think it was the 12th, series 12, with arachnids in the UK. They didn't bring back the Arachnos, but they bring back spiders in arachnids in the UK, and oh boy, I absolutely hated that episode. I tried so hard to watch it, and I managed to, but oh dear no, I had to literally, some parts of it, because the sound was so gruesome for me, I muted parts of it, and I also not skipped parts of it, but you know, closed my eyes, because the spiders, the giant fucking spiders, were too much for me to handle. I've already mentioned Spider-Man, so I won't go into it again, but Charlotte's Web also freaks me out, because the entire story revolves around, well, a spider called Charlie creeps me out. It's a spider. Yeah, I think you get the message. But there's also this strange little, not really series, but a couple of videos that Smosh made called Man Spider, and I don't know why it's so silly because it's a massive just parody of Spider-Man, and it doesn't actually include like proper spiders or anything like that. But the fact that a man has spider legs sticking out of his body, even if it's in such a really goofy manner as what Smosh created, it still freaked me out. And I still think that, you know, spiders in films and TV is just overused these days. I hate it. Please stop. The next thing I want to talk about is spiders in real life. And where I want to start with that is toys. I used to be a big fan of collecting Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon cards and things like that. So I'd often go into the toy aisle in supermarkets and things like that. So I could go and grab booster packs and deck sets and things like that. And when I'd do so, I would come across these horrible Tarantula robotic toys. Like there's these motorized like little toys and they have like motorized or mechanical features, and they just quickly go across the floor and things like that. It's horrible. Why would you even give that to anyone? It's not a good idea. And there's also like these small plastic toys, you know, bugs and things like that. And there's also these like jelly things where you can make these like slime creatures, like grow your own slimes. And they had this bug set, and in it was like these horrible spiders. And there's also something that really freaked me out when I was younger. People used to collect these like bugs in these glass cases, but people would often come to school with like these bugs in these like glass cases, or these like bugs in crystals, or whatever you want to call them. And I can remember this time where someone used to actually like proper shove these like giant spiders in these glass cases in my face, and I hated that so much. And also because it's October, I've got to do the obligatory spooky month stuff. It's Halloween basically, and in shops, in anywhere, there's Halloween decorations, and one of the biggest decorations is spiders. Spiders just everywhere. When it's Halloween, there's just like little plastic spiders everywhere. But it's just a thing. And I was going past a hairdresser's that I used to go to yesterday, and when I looked into the window, there was this giant, like sort of fluffy spider just hanging in the air, like ginormous, hanging in the air, staring down at you. I don't understand why people think that's a good idea. I mean, can someone please like explain to me how that would not trigger someone or terrify someone who had some sort of, even just a small amount of arachnophobia? I looked at that and I thought, oh no, I am not looking at that again. And like I already mentioned, Halloween comes around, people are going to be watching a lot of horror films, and when they do, another big thing that's on horror film lists is spider films. I don't like the idea of that. This is why I don't go to like film clubs or anything like that, because not only do I have really bad anxiety, but if they play something I don't like, I'm not going to be very happy about it. Or if I play something that has lots of spiders in it, especially if it's a Halloween sort of thing, just no, please stop, no more spiders. And there's also a lot of videos of spider jump scares and things like that, where spiders just sort of jump out at you. It's not fun. I don't like it. I see them every now and then, you know, if I'm doing like a Reddit 50/50, or just Reddit posts in general, or funny videos, or try not to get scared challenges, and then just spiders everywhere. I hate it. It's not fun. And people, for some strange reason, find them cute. People create like these cutesy art styles and things like that, where it's just a round circular body with like these tiny little sticky out legs, and a big smile on its face and googly eyes, and it's just like, no, you can't. There is no way in hell that you can make a spider look adorable or cute. That is still terrifying to me. And maybe to a few other people, they don't like any kind of spiders, whether they're in a cutesy art style or not. No matter what, you can't design a spider to be cute, in my opinion. My unpopular opinion. But yeah, some people even have spiders as pets, and that just freaks me out. I hate spiders. Their existence really just freaks me out. And I'll go sort of into that a little bit more in a few minutes. But what I want to talk about now is expectancy. So people who have arachnophobia get triggered just by talking about arachnophobia sometimes, like me. I'm very triggered right now. You probably can't tell, but I am. And talking about spiders makes me feel very anxious and very paranoid. Like, every time I hear the word spider, I have to take my feet off the ground. You know, if I'm sat down and my feet are on the ground and someone on a video or on anime or in cartoons mentions the word spider or has a spider sort of representation in it, I have to take my feet off the ground because I'm scared that a spider's gonna crawl across my feet or something like that. And this entire video I've done it with my feet off the ground because it just freaks me out. Yeah. And I'm always, because I'm talking about it now for the rest of the day, I'm always going to be expecting there to be a spider somewhere, and I'm always going to be looking around trying to find one, and it's horrible. I absolutely hate it. And now I'm going to talk about the phobia itself and why I personally find them to be terrifying. First of all, it's a very, very common phobia. A lot of people have it, including myself, and I could talk all day about experiences, but I'll get into that at the end of the video, because right now I just want to talk about why I find them freaky and stuff. Mainly, for me, it's the legs. Any type of spidery legs, they really creep me out. The fact that they can run so fast also freaks me out, and they can hide in plain sight. It's not fun. And a lot of the times, because they're so small and they're not exactly the heaviest of creatures, they could be on your shoulder and you wouldn't even notice. And they also like blend in a lot, so sometimes you might find like a bit of fluff on the floor and you think it's just a bit of fluff, but in reality it's actually a spider, and it's not fun. I absolutely hate it. They just look really gross and terrifying and disgusting as well to me. A lot of people find them cute, which really I can't wrap my head around. I just find them terrifying to look at. When they're not moving, they're a little bit easier, but as soon as they move, that sends me into a spin. With me, with my arachnophobia, it's sort of, I don't scream like at anything ever. Even when there's a jump scare and things like that and something really freaks me out, I don't scream. I might go, ugh, just a bit like that, or ugh, and run away. But I don't actually like scream. So I'm not a screamer. But when it does come to spiders, I like to get out of the way as soon as possible. I don't like going into any sort of environment that includes spiders, like reptile rooms. I don't understand why reptile rooms even have spiders, because spiders are definitely not reptiles. That just makes no sense to me. I think someone probably tried explaining to me about it a while ago, saying it was something to do with the temperature of the rooms or something. Like, apparently big spiders like the same temperature as reptiles, and I don't know. I don't care. Just keep me away from them. But as well with my fear, if I see one, I kind of freeze sometimes, or it gives me a really bad anxiety attack, which is, obviously, it's not fun. I keep saying this entire video, spiders are not fun. anything to do with spiders freaks me out. It's not fun. I don't like it. But yeah, sometimes I sort of like freeze up. There was this one time, I'm going to get into some stories now, but there was this one time where I was in the room that I record my videos. I call it my office. I don't know why. It's just sort of a fancy name for this is where all my consoles and my computer is, and it's where I spend most of my time. And it's a place that I feel the most safe, sort of. It's like my little safe space, basically. And there was this one time where this giant fuck-off spider was on my wall. And I was so scared of it that I just stood there staring at it for like 20 minutes straight, and then I had like 10 minutes of an anxiety attack because I wanted to get rid of it, but I was too scared to go near it. And I really wanted to kill it, just stab it with a sword or anything, because I actually own swords and stuff like that. I used to collect swords. Swords are brilliant. I love swords. I wanted to kill it or just squish it or something like that, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it for like an entire 40 minutes, maybe even an hour. That just wasn't fun. There was also this one time where basically there was a spider on a towel, and I got scared and threw the towel on the floor, and I thought maybe that would trap the spider until someone else can sort it out. So I called someone over to come and get rid of it for me because I couldn't do it myself. They shook the towel off and they couldn't find the spider at all. And then when they left, I was very reluctant to do so, but I also had a quick look myself. And then all of a sudden, it came out from the towel that was already shook off. It's like, how did this person not find that thing? It was literally still stuck on the towel. And then it kind of ran towards me, and I sort of like just ran away, and I was like, no! There's a lot of little stories that I could tell you about it. Like, there was this time where basically I was in my bedroom, and I have something called a linen bin, which is where you put your clothes when they need to be washed. Sort of like a storage for dirty clothes, things like that. And then it's easier to take them down to the washing machine in that like basket or bin or whatever you want to call it, and then just take things out and then put them in the washing machine. It's easier than it sounds. But there was this spider on my linen bin, and it took me ages to try and kill it, but then when I did like hit it, it sort of disappeared. It fell onto the floor and disappeared, and I had no idea where it were, and I was too afraid to go into my room to try and get rid of it, and I didn't really want anyone else to interfere. I wanted to get rid of it on my own for once, because I felt like eventually I would be able to do so. But it kind of disappeared, and so I set up this like fucking barrier to try and keep it in whilst I go and find myself something to get rid of it with. And eventually I couldn't find it, so I ended up removing this barrier, going to sleep and things like that. And the next day I was putting my clothes in my linen bin, and then all of a sudden it came out from under my clothes, and that freaked me out. There's also times where, you know, there's been really big spiders where people have, you know, like put them in a glass and then put them outside. But there was this one time in particular where there was a spider so big that when this person put it in the glass, you could actually hear its legs tapping against the glass. That was horrible. I've been bitten, crawled on, and seen plenty of spiders before, so those are stories that I'm not exactly going to talk about because I don't have the time to, but, you know, that's the thing. There's also a couple of bathroom stories where spiders have just appeared on my shoulder, and then I ran out of the bathroom, and then because I was so scared and wasn't watching where I was going. I actually fell downstairs this one time because of the spider, and thankfully the spider died, and because I actually like quickly wiped it off, and my hand must have crushed it as well whilst I was wiping it off, and yeah. And then there was this big story, not a big story, it's not a long one, but when I was really young, my dad used to get like drunk and he used to be a bit of a dick, not in like a violent way, so don't worry about that, but there was this one time where he were a bit of a dick, and he knew my very bad fear of spider, and my sister also at that time had a fear of spiders, and he basically came home drunk one night, came into our room with this massive fuck off spider. It was already dead, but it was just constantly wiggling it in our faces. It was horrible, absolutely horrible. We were like 6 or 7 or something, maybe 5 or 6, or I was at least 5 or 6, something like that, and I was just screaming and crying. It was horrible. And yeah, I think that's going to do it because I'm all out, well, not all out of stories, but this video's gone on for way too long, and I'm getting lightheaded and anxious and paranoid just talking about these things. I kind of want to stop. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it at least somewhat interesting. I hope more people have the same opinion of spiders being overused in games and the media and such, just like I feel. And yeah, please like and subscribe. It's always free, and I'll see you later.